Hi everyone, welcome back to the co-founders. This is me, Amanzi, and together with me is
Chidi, nice to have you guys here again.
nice having you. This is our second episode. For the people who've watched the first one, we thank you for coming back to watch the second one. And if you know somebody that will be interested, please link them to this video and let's get into our highlights.
All right, why Combinator 500 startups plug and play invest in Odiggo's 2.2 million seed round? Barbershop technology startup TheCut sharpens its platform with $4.5 million round. Prospa secures largest pre-seed investment. Nigeria agritech startup Releaf secures $4.2 million. CBN goes after AbokiFX to save the Naira. Odiggo is an interesting one for me. Odiggo, I'll just give you a high level overview of what they are about. They are a car servicing, car
Did you say
spare
car?
parts company. Yes.
Okay.
Odiggo connects everyday people, car owners. It allows them get servicing, premium car servicing and car parts from trusted suppliers and service people around them. Odiggo recently raised 2.2 million in their seed round, and it's really exciting. It's based out of Egypt. I think they have operations in the UAE and Saudi Arabia today. They 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 have over 300 merchants that they work with currently, and according to the founders, they have grown by a 40% month on month for the merchants that they work with, and their user base has increased by 200% since the start of the pandemic. Odiggo is one of those businesses that the COVID-19 pandemic also helped boost their activity and traction because, with the lockdown and fewer movements, most delivery startups actually saw a huge surge in business activities. Odiggo charges, I think, a 30%, 20-30%. I need to confirm the number, but Odiggo charges a percentage though for matching car
It's
owners with
20%.
service providers and service people. And so that's an interesting revenue model. I think for me, one of the things that stood out about Odiggo is I know someone locally. I mean, I know a Nigerian startup trying to solve a similar problem. The name of the startup is Parts Shop. I've known about Parts Shop since I think 2017. I think in the early 2017 was when I learned about that Parts Shop. They are based in Nigeria. They connect everyday car owners to trusted suppliers or vendors in Alaba. Everybody in Nigeria knows that is where you want to get your car parts
Imported,
from.
import, export.
Import, export, everything. They sell premium car parts, but you see, the everyday person cannot go to that market in Lagos to buy car parts because
Yeah.
very likely going to get scammed. You either buy not premium material or you pay very high premium to get the quality items. And so Parts Shop was trying to fill that gap by connecting everyday people like you and I with those verified merchants
Before
in
we go
Lagos. And of course,
into part shop too far, you remember our concern is Odigo. Uh-huh.
oh, true.
So the what I understand for, or rather what I understood from Odigo is they service the Egyptian and the Saudi Arabian market, if not Dubai only. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah,
My
there is Dubai operations.
my biggest fear for things like this, if they were in Nigeria, you a typical Nigerian doesn't spend too much on their cars compared to like the people in the West. So if they hit you with all those kind of bills where you need to change some original parts to something like 100,000, 200,000 for a light, you shake your head and you more or less want to go crazy. So I think the fact that they are targeting the market that is willing to pay. I'm not too sure how affluent the Egyptian market is, but I know the Dubai market there, that one is something different. So they will be making a lot of money. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I actually can't even speak to the numbers because it's not a sector that I play in or that I am I'm concerned about. But I know that maintaining cars, especially for private individuals, is also big business here. You think about what you spend. The last time I serviced my car, it cost me about 26,000 Naira. And until recently, when I was talking to a neighbor,
$50.
I realized that my auto dealer doesn't even use premium oil to service my car. And so I would say that even in Nigeria, I think that there is something there. If you had to replace a part, the average person would spend, I don't know about the numbers. Let me not try to insert myself there.
The average Nigerian will definitely want a car that they can repair for cheap, because the whole thing here in Nigeria is I must have a vehicle that takes me from here to there and not necessarily spend too much on my cars. So there is a market for it, but the amount a Nigerian is willing to spend on a car is not that much. So I don't know. Like you said, you spend 26,000. That's roughly $50. If you go and check a repair person in the US, maybe they are spending over $200 or something like that. So imagine in
But you know that the servicing happens every 3 months on average.
Mm-hmm.
So that servicing is every 3 months, depending on the usage. For me, I can afford to do it every 3 months because I work from home. I don't commute that much, and so it's mostly routine check. Change the oils, change the oil filter, check the brakes, and that is it. The last one was just to change the oil and the oil filter.
Okay, I feel Odiggo, they are doing well. If they are targeting Dubai, they are doing well. I feel their numbers are too. When you make numbers lie, or when you make it say what it's not supposed to say, 40% monthly.
Yeah, according to them, it's a $61 billion market in Middle East and Africa alone.
TheCut just got $4.5 million seed round. I'm not sure if it's a seed.
But no, it's not a seed round. Okay. They just raised an additional $4.5 million. Okay. It brings the total amount of fund that they've raised to about $5.35 million. TheCut was founded in 2016.
And they are still in operation, which means...
And they are still in operation, yes. And this is 2021, so this is 5 years later, and they are still doing well. For me, TheCut was a surprising one. I would explain. We do a lot of haircuts. It's normal. The average guy in this part of the world gets a haircut at least on the average, once a week. Some people every 2 weeks. And we don't have haircuts.
Some people once every month.
Whoa, that's epic. Well, you would at least trim your beard and all that stuff, or you don't.
I have my own clipper.
Oh, interesting. But for me, it's still fascinating that I don't know any men's haircut startup or anybody trying to use technology to solve this problem around this part of the world. And it's amazing to see that this business has been running since 2016, and a business like this has raised 5.35 million till date. And
the reason I see them making this much money, or rather, we didn't mention how much they've made so far. They said they've made $500 million. That's from not them exactly, revenue through their platform has gotten them $500 million from 2016 to 2021. That is, the barbers that are under their platform have made this money. So I don't know how much of this goes to them.
Let me we skipped something. So really, what Barbershop, what TheCut does is they provide technology for barbers and the people that patronize these barbers. So, you have a barber profile. And as guys, that typically when you go there's a salon that I use around your house. When we go there's a guy that cuts for you and there's a guy that cuts for me. And we will typically wait until that guy is free so he can barb your hair, because he understands the style, he understands your hair, he understands. And, so there is a barber in a shop that you like to use. Same thing in all the places where I go to, there is a barber in that shop. Sometimes when I go to the barber shop, guys are free, but there's somebody who wants to barb us. And so my understanding of TheCut is, these barbers get ratings and they get reviews, not just the barber shop now, but the barbers. And so it's like a barber profile or barber streak. And so people can choose, this is who I want to, even if you don't know the person, you can see some of his past cuts, you can see reviews and stuff. So these barbers can afford to build their own profile and credibility and people. So you go to a new city and you don't have
like
to try.
a dress for guys. Oh, people don't know dress. Sorry.
Well, I think we can talk about that on another day. But essentially, that's what they do. And so people book for their barbing appointments on TheCut or through TheCut and leave reviews for those guys. People make payments. They also have the option for physical payments. And then, they are, I think part of the things that they are releasing with this new round is their own card readers for in-person payments and the like. So till date, the app averages about 1.5 million bookings or appointment barber bookings till date. That's an impressive number.
And they said they
say they're adding
200.
about 100,000 users every month. So that is also quite impressive.
And they have 400 to 600,000 barbers already in their platform.
Yeah,
That's
in the US
crazy.
only.
Did you mention the amount of users per month that use their
They
platform?
said they are adding 100,000 every month.
Okay. Wait, are they adding, or these are the amount of people who are active?
Well, how do you even measure active? Maybe if they are tracking recurring barbers, but they did not mention that. At least all the research I did not suggest that. I just know that they claim that their growth at this point is exponential, and they are seeing 100,000.
Either way, 100,000 per month is a serious
It's
activity.
an impressive number.
Yes. Okay, so what they want to use their money for is to create a digital store, and as Chidi mentioned, a physical payment card reader for their merchants.
Prospa secures largest pre-seed investment.
Yeah.
And Andy, what do you think about Prospa? I know you had mentioned this was very interesting for you.
Prospa is a company that helps more or less small businesses or businesses to get startup. At the same time, they provide you with 3 different things: their inventory and invoicing tool, their employment management, and their banking tool. So let me give you an example, or rather let me just do a compression. Prospa is like firstbase.io, which helps you to incorporate your startup. Mercury, which is like a banking app online, mercury.io, and Shopify, which helps you list your product. So they do all these 3 at the same time. If you want to use Prospa and you are just starting your business, or you have your own business already, you can just start using their system. But if you don't have your business from the CAC, you can submit all the right documents. That's the what they call the corporate affairs commission in Nigeria. They will help you do all your registration. I can't remember exactly how fast they do it, but they have partnerships that will help them facilitate this thing. So a pre-seed now, they've gotten $3.8 million before a seed. So this is like the largest in, is it West Africa or Africa? To be honest, I've not seen anybody gotten this amount of money. I would just say West Africa to be safe. I think it's in Africa, the largest pre-seed. Their growth is more or less like they make they are adding 35% of customers per month. So customers as in business owner, they have about 10,000 plus, or not 10,000, tens of thousands of businesses in on their platform, and they have about 150,000 catalogs from these businesses. That is, these businesses that come on their platform, they list their products on a list 150,000 plus things on Prospa. And also they've more or less facilitated 360,000 plus invoices, which means they are doing a lot. I can't remember when they started, so imagine how many transactions, or rather how much per transaction for 360,000 invoices. So they are doing well, and this will more or less, or rather their business will help more people to get into business faster and better. Because to be honest, a small guy that wants to enter into business and he doesn't know where to start with CAC or company name or company registration, You can just go to Prospa and submit all the right documents, and Prospa will do all that for that person and provide them with a business account, provide them with their business management features, which is their storefront where they can list all their stuff, and also inventory management, which will show how much of your content you or rather of your product you have. At the same time, that your business account, your customers can pay into it, and you can use that same account to pay your employees. So I like this idea because it helps people to get into business faster.
Quite impressive. I know they talked about a partnership that they are pushing with CAC to fast track or facilitate the incorporation of companies in Nigeria. I think
Are
you
they still
mentioned that.
pursuing, or they already have it?
No, I know they said they will partner with CAC to make that happen. So they facilitate registration, but they have lawyers. I think they have lawyers they work with. So that is a next step for them.
And what they plan to use their money to do is to increase their customer base. I'm not sure if increasing customer base means they want to add more customers, or they want to diversify and get different type of customers. And the second part is hire more product and engineering teams, talents rather. So that means developers, if you want to get job, you can just send a mail to someone in Prospa to give you a job. Or if you're a product person, just send your CV. We don't know them, so don't send us CV.
Next up, let's talk about Releaf, Nigerian agritech startup that recently raised $4.2 million.
Releaf is a company that they are trying to get into the agritech, or rather they are in the agritech value chain, mostly oil palm. They produce hardware, and at the same time they have some form of software. So their hardware, what they call it, the Kraken, it helps them take palm kernels from the farmers and process the palm kernels in a way where they don't waste much things. So efficiency is the goal here. So they want to meet the demand of the market by being efficient, because the traditional way of processing palm kernels lead to a lot of waste. So that's what they are trying to do. At the same time, get enough quality, or rather good enough quality that meets market standard. There is a particular fat ratio, or rather fat percentage, that your palm oil is supposed to reach. I think, as in, it's not supposed to exceed. I think Releaf's their own processing goes lower than that, which is superb. So that's what they are doing. They raised a seed of 2.7, and they also got a grant of 1.5, which totals to 4.2. So these guys are aggressive. They are going for it, because I think one of them or both of them are American citizens. They came back to pursue these things. Before they even did it, they went around Nigeria to look for which particular crop to focus on, and they chose oil palm, or rather palm kernels. So far their Kraken, which is their own special machine for processing palm oil, is they said they have not patented it. I don't know, maybe the patents will work in the US. I don't know much about Nigerian patent laws, but but they've not patented it. They've processed about 500 tons of, I'm not sure if it's oil or all the kernels. I think it's the kernels. They've processed 500 tons of the kernels, and their software is being used by 2,000 smallholder farmers. So I'm guessing it's a USSD app. I'm not exactly sure which software they are talking, because smallholder farmers will not be installing anything on their phone or on their laptop. So I'm guessing it's USSD or some form of low-level application on their smartphone for those who have it. How does Releaf come into the market, or rather the chain that exists between the farmer and the FMCG processor? So instead of the FMCG processor going to the local farmer who will process the palm oil and give them a lower quality, Relief will buy from the farmer, process it, and sell the processed oil to the FMCG, who will then do a further processing or pre-packaging or packaging. So with this, the farmer doesn't have to stress themselves. They don't have to keep waiting for the other low-level processors to come and scatter their market or put them out of business. They are assured that Relief will come and buy it from them, and at the same time, the quality of oil that will go to the FMCGs are high quality. So the FMCGs will not be like, oh, I need to get from supplier A, supplier B, supplier C. Oh, their fat percentage is this one's fat percentage is that, this one's fat percentage is this. So everything comes from one. And yeah, I was talking about Relief and how they bridge the gap between the smallholder farmers and the FMCGs. Yes. So Relief helps those two parties. They buy the products from the smallholder farmers while they link up with them, and they process it with their cracking. Let me see if I have a photo of their cracking here. I think this is their cracking, and they get the oil from the palm kernels and they sell it to the FMCGs. So that's what Relief does. They processed about 500 tons of kernels. We've lost Chidi, so I'll just they process about 500 tons. They've processed about 500 tons of palm kernels, and their software is used by over 2,000 smallholder farmers. So they are doing well, and the investors are seeing what they are doing, and they are pouring their money into their business. They also plan to scale, but not, I can't remember exactly what they want to scale to. They want to scale into more parts of Nigeria, but not necessarily to other crops. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. No, I think they want to scale to other crops, but mostly focused on oil related crops like granite oil or something like that, because their machine, which is the cracking, maybe they can modify it and create for other industries. So they don't plan on leaving Nigeria for now. They mentioned granite, soya beans. Yes, they want to stay within the oil producing crops. So they are doing well. The guys are smiling. We should smile with them too. So that's it for Relief.
All right, fine.
Yeah, you guys are saying Chidi is not receptive with agritech. He's just bored about agritech.
Well, Relief feels like one of the things Amanze was doing before, but that's talk for another day. I remember
startup PTSD.
And so that's why the guy just went off talking about Relief and what they do. Amanze built a technology for an aggregator to manage small scale farmers like this one in the
Let's
past.
move on, please. Let's move on. You, in case you guys want to know, I started a company called Galani. We were working with smallholder farmers, and at the same time, we switched to working with commercial farmers. Our business changed a lot, but one of these days, you will get a full glimpse of what my journey was, and you will also get Chidi's own startup journey. The Central Bank of Nigeria coming after AbokiFX. So this has been a saga for the past 2 or 3 weeks, where the federal government has been struggling to stabilize the Naira, and they had the issue of AbokiFX giving prices that does not match with what CBN had. So CBN was like, we need to stop these guys, because whatever we put out, they are putting something different out, and people are not conforming to what we are putting out. So I don't have too much info on this saga. I don't have any dog in the fight, but at the same time, the Naira has been struggling, and AbokiFX mostly deals with the black market price, and the federal government felt as if it was somewhat like a price fixing. Chidi, what do you have to say about it?
Well, I'm not an Aboki and I'm not an FX person, so my view will be slightly limited. and I haven't followed it that much. I would say the much I know about the process. So typically, AbokiFX is an online platform. It's not. There's a bit of a forum there. AbokiFX publishes daily FX rates in Nigeria. So how the different currencies are doing against the Naira. And so they have different categories. You have the parallel market rates, you have the black market rates, you have the bank rates, you have the ATM rates. And for people that are not familiar, there are multiple rates in FX in Nigeria at the moment. There is the CBN rate that the banks are supposed to transact at, and then there is the rates that the banks use when we pay for goods and services.
Can you give the viewers an idea of what the current CBN rate is and what the black market, so that they can see the margins between them?
Okay, I think the current CBN rate is about 413 Naira to $1. If you paid for something yesterday with your ATM card, depending on the bank, it typically starts at 450 Naira to 480 Naira, depending on the bank you use. Banks like Fidelity will probably charge you as much as 480. So you see the gap between the official rate and what your bank is charging you for card-based transactions. Meanwhile, a lot of banks have capped your online transaction or your online FX spend to $100. And so, for merchants or vendors that support multiple payments, you would use maybe 4 or 5 cards. The most I've seen is 3 cards. So you would use 3 cards to make a $300 purchase if all you had was a Naira card today. Now, the black market rate is about 565, between 560 and 570. And so you see the huge gap. 413 on one hand and 570 on the other hand. The Naira has been struggling for years now, and so lots of policies have been made by CBN, Nigeria's apex bank, to try to control the exchange rate for the Naira and preserve the value of the Naira. We've devalued a few times as well, I think twice this year already, and all in response to that. Now what happens is that every day people like Amanze go on AbokiFX to get the black market rate.
Government don't come for me, I don't go to AbokiFX, so please.
Okay, well, so people go on AbokiFX, they get the speculative rate for black market, and so that's kind of set an expectation for how they deal or how they transact. And so you would go there, you get the rates, you sell to somebody else. Amanze will sell his dollar to me. Instead of selling at 413 that the CBN has advised, it would make me pay 565 or 570. 565 friends and family rate, and maybe 570 black market rate. And so all of that is not helping the Naira. And so I think that is why the CBN is going after the different people that are trying to influence that market against the direction that they want it to go in. And so that's where all those policies come in and those control measures to come from. So I think the CBN's approach is, if people do not have information about what the alternative rate is, they will be forced to transact at the official rate. But AbokiFX is just one large platform. There is a new platform, MefiFX, that is taking over from Aboki, and I think that their own platform too will get a surge, with Aboki publishing only official rates. I think the last time I checked AbokiFX, just before this video to confirm, I saw that their black market rates were all 00. So they've taken that down in compliance with the CBN directive. Personally,
sorry, before you go to your controversy, there's also Binance, where people can check what people are buying the Naira for, or rather selling and buying the Naira for dollars. So people don't need only the AbokiFX. Like you said, there are other platforms, both online and offline, and a merchant will definitely not sell you dollar when he knows he has to buy it again for a higher price. So whatever the government is doing won't work.
But Binance that you mentioned is an online platform. It's a foreign platform. Binance is not a Nigerian entity, and Binance typically has rates that are even higher than Aboki a lot of times. So if you get 560 from your street vendors or your street BDC, Binance could list, it's still showing 0. It's been like this since the CBN clamped down. I know some of their accounts were frozen and all of that as a result of that directive. If you check Binance, on the other hand, when Aboki gives you 500, 560, Binance could go as high as 565, 570, because Binance is driven by demand and supply within that ecosystem. Remember that it's difficult to transact in cryptocurrencies in Nigeria at the moment, following another directive by the CBN.
Yeah.
And so all of those have helped drive the value of these scarce commodities. And so, it is hard to get. So it becomes expensive if you're able to get money in. And so those are the reasons why Binance or Naira is expensive. The exchange rate on Binance is expensive because you have few people. It's just not easy to get money into that ecosystem.
Yes.
And so it's driving an artificial demand and supply there. Back to my controversial opinion, I think part of the things that the CBN is trying, you look at that 579. That's what Binance is showing today. Is this correct?
That's for buying. So they will sell to you for,
and that is way higher.
This is what they will sell to you.
581. That is almost 20
600
Naira price difference from what the street BDC will charge you today, and that is almost 200 Naira from the official rate. So that is ridiculous.
Yep.
Honestly, personally, I think that if the new regulations and if the banks are able to meet up with the demand for FX, for legitimate business and transactions, then we would see the Naira, the exchange rate, correct and stabilize at a more realistic value.
Wait, come again. You said for them to fix this issue, they need to do what?
No, I was saying that the current measures that have been put in place are quite optimistic, and if they are implemented properly, I think there is hope for the Naira. Because today you can get, if you were traveling outside the country, you can get PTA or BTA at 413 or 420 max, and you can get as much as $4,000. And so if you were doing business as well, import and export, you can also go through the banks and get at 430, 431. So if those happen, then there is no need for the street BDC. But over time, it's been difficult to get FX through the banks. And so that is why the Aboki business has thrived, or the street BDC business has been lucrative. So if we can if the banks are able to meet up with the demand on the streets, and there is, I believe supply is not a problem, because I know that the CBN pumps money into the market from time to time to meet legitimate demands. And so if more people went to the banks and the banks was able to meet that need, then I mean, it's just like in a not too distant past, I know that FX was not a difficult commodity or scarce commodity in Accra. You can either get FX from the bank or you can get from the street BDC. The street BDC is sold at almost the same rate the bank sold at. And so,
Sorry, BDC is Bureau de Change, in case you get confused.
The street FX bureaus sold at almost the same rate as the bank. Sometimes it was even cheaper to get from the street guys than to get at the bank, and other times it was roughly the same. Sometimes you also get at a cheaper rate from the bank than the street. But that ease of access to FX for transactions and businesses or whatever needed to be done made it difficult to have this unrealistic price setting and random price setting. But what happens, I know at some point, if you had with the directive to not give BDCs FX from the CBN, if you had cash on the streets of Lagos, the street guys were so desperate to get money that they would pay you any premium to get that money. Of course, the CBN has alleged that the street BDCs are involved in a number of fraudulent transactions and help push fraudulent activities. So those are some of the things that they're also trying to combat in all of this.
Yeah. So for the guys outside Nigeria who are confused what's going on with these guys, what are they saying? So as at ending of last year, the federal government restricted the amount of FX we could transact. So like for me, for my own bank, I could only do $100 per month. So everything higher than that, I need a special pass to show that I am actually transacting. I'm a business owner. I need to purchase something or pay for something outside. So as a consumer, I could not do any transaction above $100. So that has more or less made people to look for alternative to get this FX, which has in turn helped the black market to be way different from what the CBN is now. So like Chidi said, I believe if the banks will meet the demand of FX, then the black market price will reduce. But this restriction is not helping, and at the same time, Nigeria needs to export more. If we don't export, we cannot keep manipulating our money. There's nothing we can do. So yeah.
Meanwhile, recently, some banks were fined. Yes. And I saw comments online that talked about how that CBN needs to go after the real criminals, referring to the banks, and let guys like Aboki go. And that's another thing with
I generally don't like the term criminal, because these are crimes that were created how many months ago? As in, these kind of things have been designated crimes when they were legal some months ago. So
well, so that's the interesting thing. Typically we don't look into, we just read the headline and move on. Some banks were fined for erroneous charges or fictitious charges. So certain transactions should not have. Your bank would charge you VAT on a transaction that there should be no VAT on. Your bank would charge you, lots of fees and stuff like that happened. Some other banks issued PTA and BTA to their customers. So this is talking about FX that at the regular price. So you get the PTA or BTA from the bank at $4.13 for a journey or for a trip, a business trip or a personal trip. And for some reason, these customers did not travel. And regulation requires that when you obtain that money at that rate, it is for a trip. If the trip doesn't happen, then you are supposed to return the money to the bank. And so, this did not happen. And so the bank is supposed to recover that money and return to CBN. When the bank fails to return that, they could also be sanctioned for those. So those are some of the fraudulent transactions that the banks would have been fined for, and a bunch of other things that happen in that space. But since I'm not a banker, I don't think I can say much about it.
In short, there is no free market in Nigeria. Everything is government controlled. Let's move on. So our honorable mention for the week is Bloc. Yes, Bloc helps startups to integrate utilities, e-wallet or virtual accounts, the cash code, the banking agency, and also transfers. So instead of you hiring teams to implement all these things, you just need to plug into the Bloc API and fast track your own fintech startup, or rather your own fintech application. I do not know how much exactly they charge for integrations, but to be honest, if you are to build all these things yourself, you'll be spending tens of thousands of dollars to even make them a thing that is stable. So they are providing you these APIs. All you need to do is to use them and put them under your own application shell and release it out to the market. So if you are a fintech startup that is struggling to do all these things, you might want to take a look at Bloc and see whether they can remove some of the stress from you. So our tool for the week is Descript. Descript helps you to use AI to transcribe. So you can get a video and the script will take out every audio out of it. You can even edit the text that it generates for you, and it will read it back in your own voice. So it does a lot of things. So for people who have been wondering, how do I get an AI to convert my videos to text? If you are a video or content creator on YouTube or Facebook or things like that, you can use Descript, and you can also tweak those audios. So if you are doing a podcast and it's very long and you maybe missed a particular word there, you can use Descript and type in that extra word or that extra sentence, and it will read it as if it is your own voice. So check it out if you can afford it. It's a good tool to use. And that's it for our tool of the week.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this week's episode. Please remember to like and subscribe and share with people that you think will benefit from this content. Thank you very much.
And don't forget, your feedback is very useful. You can leave your feedback in the description below. And if you need to contact us, our emails will also be in the description. So hope to see you guys and gals here next time. This is Amanze and
Chidi.
signing out. Bye-bye.
Thank you.